Welcome to Disruptive Capitalists, the show where purpose-driven entrepreneurs and bold investors share how they're reshaping the world by investing time and money in a way that improves lives and creates wealth. So let's get to it. Everyone, thank you for joining us again today for another great episode of the Disruptive Capitalists podcast. Today, my guest is Dru Wischhover, who isn't your typical real estate entrepreneur. As the founder and CEO of Inspired Title Group, Inspired Development Group, and Winspire LLC, Dru set out to prove that even the most overlooked industries can be a force for good. With over 20 years of experience, he's built companies that don't just close deals, they open doors for communities in need, donating a portion of every closing to causes close to his heart, which of course is close to my heart. Dru, thank you for joining the show.
No, appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me out here today. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you. Tell us a little bit about how did you get your start in real estate? And I mean, you're going against the grain. Hardly anyone donates a portion of their proceeds to help others.
I was told by my underwriters and I was told by other colleagues that I'm absolutely crazy for that. And I kind of chuckle at them today because that absolute craze has been really a foundation for doing some good things. And I started in the business from my dad's kind of lead, if you will. Never in my life did I see myself as a guy who does title insurance. And when I even say those words, people are probably listening, going, "Huh? What is that?" It's part of it's just part of the process. Anybody that's been in real estate knows that title insurance is part of the buying and selling of a property or home process. And it's not sexy, and I knew that all along. And as I started to my early days of doing this, I said, all right, I got to be different. Like, this is everybody's asking me that question of, well, okay, how are you different than all the other guys? The Chicago Titles of the world, the Fidelity, First American. And I just sat there with that, dog head tipped sideways look, going, I don't have that answer. So I needed to really, break that out and find out what my differentiator was. And really what that became was my love to helping and making a difference in community. And I said, look, can I spin these things and put them together? And the answer to that question is yes. And so what I decided to do is started taking a portion of every deal that we did, every closing, every transaction we did, I donate a portion of those proceeds to an organization in our community, or we take ourselves and we go out into the community and we serve. We put on a lot of different golf outings. We sponsor a lot of different events and things that we are, that are near and dear to us. And then this year, probably by the end of the year, I will have launched my own not-for-profit, because I need another business, because it's just not enough, right?
You don't have enough to do, right? Yeah.
No. So I'm starting another not-for-profit called Heroes Helping Heroes. And it's literally, I want to be a resource for heroes, whether they're veterans, frontline workers, nurses, doctors, et cetera. And I want to be a resource for these folks so that when they're struggling with something, we can point them in a direction to other not-for-profits or other organizations that they can find help with. Mental health is something that is very, very near and dear to us. My daughter, who also is part of my not-for-profit, she is a licensed therapist. And so I'm having her kind of lead this here so I can leave a legacy for the kids to be, part of this with me. And, I own a small title company. The development company is a little bit larger, but regardless, I have my family working with me. My two sons are working with me. One of my sons is a project manager in the development company. My other son is the director of business development for the title company. And then, as I mentioned, my daughter is a therapist. So we're all doing this. And I'm trying to also mentor and lead as an example, as, just as dad too, saying, look, here's a business that I'm thankful and fortunate enough to do. It's not, high profile. People don't, seek this out, but I'm also doing something with that to make a difference in the world around us. And I'm so happy and proud of that.
When we act with intentionality, like we set our lives up to make a difference, you can be in just about any business out there, maybe not the lottery per se, but, so not something that's trying to, rob from the poor and give to the rich.
Right.
Which Yeah. Anyways, so just about anybody, whether you're in private equity or at the bank or, plumber or whatever, you can set your life up where you can channel a portion of your income or do something to help other people.
Totally. No, totally. And I think that's a great thing to recognize and maybe even share with, the listeners, is that, the business that you're in doesn't matter. What matters is what's inside your heart. What matters is the pull and the drive that you have in here. And then what happens is it kind of engages your brain, especially as an entrepreneur. Your mind is always moving, but it engages your brain going, how do I connect these two dots? And with a little bit of effort and conversation and, maybe taking a chance here and there, it comes out and it happens. And I just know, as I mentor and teach a lot of, kids and even adults, business owners, how to do something like this. Good in is good out, right? If you put enough good into something, you're going to get good in return. That's not why we're doing this. Like, when I solicit clients for new business, it's like, okay, yeah, here's something that's different. We're going to give back a portion of our proceeds. So you're going to be part of a mission that is, making a difference. However, I'm not looking for all your business because you've got a relationship, and I respect that. Maybe you've got relationships that you've built over the years. All I'm looking for is a shot. I'm looking for, somebody to give us a nugget over here, because we're going to take that nugget and do something good with it. So it puts it into perspective for even, when you're selling and soliciting to, others in business, that it lets them know immediately where you're at and where you're coming from. And I think that says a lot about the individual, because, at the end of the day, people are buying people, right? You develop a relationship, you're buying the people. You're not buying what they do. I mean, what you need it. So, okay, well, I'm going to go to that person that I feel the most comfortable with, or that's doing something that's good with it. And I'm hoping that message gets, really spread out there a little bit more. And it's not easy. It's not an easy message to get out.
It's not an easy message to get out. It's been my intent for a long time. We had the Clean Money podcast, and that was a little confusing for folks. So Disruptive Capitalists, like I've worked with a lot of nonprofits in the past, and which is not why now we focus on solutions for nonprofits and churches and others to get money through grants. So we just made that process go from being 80 to 200 hours down to 30 minutes to an hour, and AI can now do almost all of it for you. So it's focused on helping those people because nonprofits spend so much of their time, generally speaking, going after money. Because they need constant feed of donations. Unless you're like Goodwill, where the donations come to you. I mean, they built their system, and now they're multi-billion-dollar company, which is great for them. They do a ton of good. They do a ton of good in the world. Right. So it's how do you feed the nonprofit machine and help the people that you want to help? And you need money, and so we created. For me, it was, well, you have to align, you don't have to, but it helps if you align capitalism and a feeder that feeds cash from the capitalistic society into either the nonprofit, or you just set up the business like you did from the very beginning, that it automatically is set up so that it always helps people.
Yeah. And that's like, I had a goal when I started the development company. I mean, I came from a background of, finance. I went to school, and I worked in the, financial world for a lot of time, where, I was helping people set up broker dealers. And then I was an arbitrator for these broker dealers against the SEC. Whenever they'd get called in, I'd be an arbitrator for this stuff. So, and then 2005 hits, and you get this tremendous blow. And I said, okay, myself and my partner at that time, I'm going, all right, well, you and I are the highest paid people in this business. My dad has a need over in his company because he's got a couple folks that are health, challenged. Let me step out of this and see where this dust settles with what's about to happen in the world here today. And I went over to start working there, and I went through the mundane, rituals of title insurance going, okay, well, I just got out of finance where things are moving super fast. And I come into this space where, you're not even known. And I needed to make it fun. I needed to make it exciting. And that's where putting the development company, because of having a construction background and really enjoying that, I wanted to create a foundation for my businesses to fund an opportunity where I want to build a home for people. I want to do a Habitat for Humanity, and I want it to be funded by my efforts between, my companies. And we're not far. Like it's something that I can actually see now. And I'm going, because I did it through a couple different church missions. I led a couple different teams. We were in the Dominican, and then the other opportunity we had was in Mexico. The Dominican touched me so much. I said, I need to do this so many more times. And then I looked around and went, yeah, but it's hard. That is a really big thing to take on, because
it's really big.
A lot of, you got the resources as far as, the people, and then the materials, and then, the financials to putting all that together. And I said, okay, I have the knowledge. I know I can round up the people. Financials, that piece, right? That's the piece we always get hung on. Well, I've got business opportunities that I can use to funnel and fund this. Okay, let me leverage that opportunity. So it started to, kind of brew inside of me, and I'm on that path. So I'm hoping within the next 18 months, 2 years, I'm doing this. So
because you said it and because you've done it before, like, I believe you.
Right.
I believe you're going to do it. And
right.
I don't know if you've read Viktor Frankl. I get why people love some of the other therapists because of what they talked about, all about whatever, why they sat in their rosy nice chair. The Man's Search for Meaning. And it's when you have, it can be addictive to do good, right? You feel wonderful and you help people and you make a difference in the world, and you just want to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so expansion of impact, growth of your influence, not for your own sake, but for your, so you can help more and more people. It's just incredible.
That's it. It's also a fine line too, right, Sam? I mean, I know that you've been definitely exposed to this as well, but that fine line of doing good, not to receive something in return. And you have to set out and just say, I'm all in, and I don't care what happens after, because that's not why we're doing it. We're doing it because we're all in. If we've moved the lives of some people and changed some things, but we didn't get any business or nothing came back full circle, you know what? You just didn't wait long enough, because it's coming, right?
It's coming, yeah.
It's so to set out and go, well, look, I've spent 3 years and I've done all this great stuff and nothing has happened for me good. Oh gosh, you know what? You probably need to get off the boat, because you're going to get tossed off otherwise, because it's that's not why. And I mean, I've spoken to a lot of people that those are almost the words they use is, I tried that and you know what? It didn't benefit me at all. What does that mean?
Yeah.
I mean, how you started out with a reason, so you did it. There's the benefit. Like, if you're looking beyond that, you missed the reason behind it.
Do you think $100 is going to fall out of the sky and land in your lap? Like, I'm helping people so I can get money to fall out of the sky, and
it's ROI. So many people are hung on the ROI of everything they do, not just their business. It's they've been just trained and surrounded by this. Everything is ROI. What are you going to do for me? that's the problem with why we're where we are. We need to be,
Yeah,
thinking differently.
I have a rich uncle. He's the most stingy person I've ever met, ever.
I love those
Made his
people.
kids reuse bathwater. Um, if you can just imagine growing up in that household. He has a bunch of cars and other things. Never drives them. Doesn't want to wear them out. So he's got cars that their tires are rotted off and sitting in his gigantic shed. Won't spend money on anybody, and that guy is miserable. He's miserable. His family's miserable, and money does not create happiness.
No.
And he was just so focused on himself. He's always been so focused on himself, what he wanted, not for his kids, didn't do it for his wife. It was all his stuff, what he got, what he kept. The only person he spent money on was himself. The result of selfishness is pain, it's sadness, it's all those things. When you help other people just for the sake of helping them, you can create your whole life around that.
Yeah.
You can create businesses and do good, and it just makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, I mean, you develop your own self-inflicted happiness, and I don't want to lean on anybody or anything to make me happy. I want to create it, and a way to do it is by giving without any expectation, and I think it's able to be taught. I think people have it in them to do. I think they just need to be prodded, and really led it down that path of feeling what that is. Like you talk about a euphoria, walk out of an event after you've just, made a $5,000 donation to that charity. There's no high better. And you can put your head on the pillow at night going, I made a difference in some people's lives today, man.
That's something. One of the things we struggle. So I worked at USAID for a year, did a fellowship, and one of the things they really struggled with was money would come into nonprofits. Nonprofits would go out and do all this amazing good. There are bad nonprofits out there, just like there's bad organizations and evil people all over the place. But to the amount of good that I personally saw in the 20-something countries that I went to go visit and spent time in with the poorest of the poor, what true poverty looks like, which is very, very rare in the United States unless you get on some tribal organizations where there's still people who live without electricity and running water today. But don't tell Americans, because we need to just focus on making money, right? The thing is like, it's so hard to quantify good. It is so hard to quantify, you donate money to your church. Your church goes out and re-roofs Sally's house. They buy John a car because his car broke down. He just got a job and he's trying to get himself on his feet. So they bought him a car. Great. Please buy the guy a car. So he can now take care of his family on his own. They do this, and do this. There's no reporting system. And so you take it as faith that you give money to the nonprofit, you give money to the church, you give money to these organizations. And for the most part, you just have to take it on faith that money is getting delivered. And the 90% of the time it is getting delivered and it is doing a ton of good. It's been one of the banes of the existence of nonprofits forever. It was, and when Trump shut down USAID, and yeah, there was some weird stuff going on there, but all those organizations that were doing good, it's like, where's the results? And then the problem is, it's like, how do you quantify that? And we've been working with a group at Ivystone with the Transparency Project, the Transparency Portal, to help create that. And then we've created a tool that we're working on called Percy, Personal Success Campaign, that will create a path so that individuals can see what's happening with their money, and they can know, but they can also report themselves and say, this is how Dru helped me.
Yeah.
And, just making it very, very easy to report. And now, when you start your nonprofit, and you're like, hey, folks, come invest not invest, but come donate here so we can do X, Y, Z. They'll be able to see it for the first time and say, oh my goodness, Dru helped 77 people. You were going to do it anyways.
Right.
But now they can see it.
Right. And I I'm of that thought process and school of thought that is, once I give it, it's yours to do. Like, I'm hoping and praying you're doing the right thing, but I gave it. I rightfully gave it, and I feel comfortable what I did. And, if you're going to use it for ill will or other, that's on you. Like yes, it's an extension of mine, but it's the same thing. If I give a gift and they take it back, that's fine. I'm not going to get upset about it. I gave it. It was, relinquished out of my hands, and I'm trusting in that you're going to like it or want to do with it. It's on you, man. No worries. You can't give when you're in a situation that is, you're holding back and looking for the reason, and it just needs to kind of happen. It kind of, it shouldn't, there's so much competition out there. There's so much greed out there, and there's so much, judgment that is, they're looking at, well, why did they buy John a car versus, Susie? It's like, who are you to stand in the way of that? We still helped somebody. Why do we care who it was that we helped? Maybe next week it's Susie, but our donation went to John. Be happy. Yeah. Stop.
So there's this thing in the military, right? It's like you have to trust the guy on the ground, and generals will stop. Like, no, I know the right strategy. You know the right strategy from your cubicle or your office in DC to tell the guy what to do who's sitting there getting shot at, that he needs to go do a different thing. And, there's been a number of instances where guys, got wiped out because call in and said, no, we need to do this. And they're like, no, we know the right way to do it from 10,000 miles away. You should do it this way. And they just did listen to the people on the ground. Same thing, you donate, let the people on the ground decide how to deploy that at the time of need, in the right sequence, and, and then they can share that.
I agree. I really speak a lot about that in different forums when I'm able to do these speaking engagements and such, and even just the mentoring piece of mentoring young kids and mentoring people in my businesses and things, and it's interesting to get the a lot of people, at least the younger folks. I mean, they're keen to giving back. They really enjoy what that is, because they haven't been subjected to some of the other garbage that we have as adults. They're still, they're not over influenced by, the idiocy, if you will. And I continue to share with them, like, you control your destiny. You make the difference. It's your money. You do with it what you wish. And the right thing is to, give it, because you can't take it with you. At the end of the day, I assimilate it to like a game. When the game's over, it goes back in the box. You do too. You go back in the box. It's like, it's over.
Yeah, it's over.
Put it away. And so the money that you leave, if your kids are counting on that, or they've already spent it, then you might have missed a few of the teaching opportunities there in the parenting piece, because kids that spend the parents' money already know that if the parent is a giver, there's probably not going to be much there, because they've wanted to push it into a direction where there's people that are less fortunate that maybe stand to need what more than what we have. And it's perspective, and I think a lot of it is perspective, and being an entrepreneur doesn't mean that, and I've been told this by so many people, and it just is annoying to hear, is that, oh, you own businesses, so therefore you're wealthy. That assumption, is
Yeah.
so horrible. Business
Are you,
owners are wealthy.
are you kidding? It's like I work 150 hours a week, and
Yeah.
you know,
You don't
I look,
want,
yeah, I look nice on paper.
right. You don't want some of the things I deal with on a daily basis. You don't want the sleepless nights. And, as long as your check is good and it, passes the bank, then good. But you don't know
Yeah,
what it took to get there. And so
yeah,
don't, and why are you giving money to, this organization or that organization? Oh, I forgot. Is it your money or is it mine? Because it's my
yeah,
decision to make. Like,
yeah,
what, you give yours to them,
yeah.
right? Well,
No,
they don't need it. Right. Okay. They need
right, right.
mine. They don't need yours. Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. It can be a fickle spot. And that's why I try not to engage in, those conversations because they're pointless and there's not going to be a good result coming out of it.
There's, yeah, you can't argue. Um, if you've never done it before,
Mm-hmm.
it's really easy. It's like, everyone is a fantastic parent until they have kids. Um,
X. Totally.
every kid's wonderful until you have your own.
Oh yeah.
And then, yeah, it's really, perspective is interesting, and it's been really interesting. My perspective of, um, a lot of countries is very different.
Oh.
Um, we had a lot of Americans come over to Sub-Saharan Africa, Southwest Asia, Southeast Asia, and I was in healthcare, so they'd come
Mm-hmm.
over there and give them this giant, CAT scan or MRI machine and say, "Here's $1 million MRI machine. We're donating to you, and we're so excited, and you guys are now going to have this amazing capability to do MRIs and train some doctors." And then they leave. As soon as they leave, they go over there and they unplug it from the wall, and they go about their business. And if those guys come back, then they plug it back in the wall, take off the sheet, and then act like they're using it, because
Sure.
it's like, for one, you know, whenever they use it, it takes away the entire power for the entire hospital, which they don't want to do. And two, it's like, where do they get parts when it
Right.
breaks? And then how do they fix it when it breaks? And so it's like, this is,
Yeah.
we just don't like to listen. We don't like to see,
Yeah.
and we don't like to give credit. That's a tough thing. Drew, I've really enjoyed our conversation today. I know we kind of got off track here talking about giving. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
off track or on the right track, but thank you so much for all that you do, and every little bit matters. And I know, there's people out there that you will never meet that you helped.
Yep. Yep. And I appreciate you having me out here today to kind of share my story, and hopefully it empowers some people to look into their own opportunities and what they're doing with their business, and maybe they can reflect on it and do some good too. That's
It doesn't take much, right?
It
I mean,
doesn't.
most people can give up 10% of their income and never skip a beat. They're just going
Right.
to buy a couple less things off of Amazon,
Yep.
which
Amen.
honestly, it's probably good for us all to not buy quite so much off Amazon. So, do
I
you really
concur.
need the 37th pair of shoes? So and the answer is yes, of course I do.
Yeah.
They're brown or white. I don't know,
No, for sure. Love being here.
So for those who have listened and like, yeah, man, Drew's amazing. How did they get in touch with you?
Sure. They can, I am on a lot of the socials, but my LinkedIn is one place where they can find me, and it is I think it's just literally at Dru, Dru Wischhover, Wischhover. And I am happy to connect with people and answer questions, and however I can be of service. I'm a servant.
Thank you, Drew. Really, really love all that you do and all that you've become. Thank you so much for being on the show and inspiring me and our listeners. And Have a wonderful day, and thanks all for listening.
Thank you. You too.
If this episode shifted your thinking, then share it with someone bold. And remember, capital is a tool. Use it to build a world you are proud to live in.